Notable milestones are being achieved as SpaceX engineers persevere in the South Texas heat. Starlink polar launches are coming to the East Coast, private Dragon crews train for their upcoming missions, and we finish with today's honorable mention. I'm Kevin, and this is SpaceX in the News. BN2's forward dome, that is to say the top of the Super Heavy booster, has been assembled by Starbase crews and spotted by local photographers Ryan, aka Starship Gazer, RGV Aerial Photography, and Brady Keniston. The much anticipated hot gas thrusters have been fixed to the outer hull. Elon tweeted last month that they were aiming to use the system for the first orbital flight in place of cold gas nitrogen thrusters previously used. Hot gas is more efficient and uses methane and LOX, which means they can be replenished using the resources of Mars. But Elon did soon clarify that these new thrusters are an unnecessary complication for now and will be removed to speed up time to orbital launch. Since the upper stage Starship has a skirt covering its engine bay, an inner stage need not apply. So this forward dome section will also connect directly to the base of Starship. It will host the super heavy grid fins and the hardware needed for launch tower recovery. Although recovery won't happen for the first flight, instead splashing the booster down off the coast of Texas. But they will eventually use giant robot arms connected to the tower to catch the booster under its grid fins. So it'll look something like this. This week, the tower received a drawworks from Phobos that could be used to aid in the recovery process by hoisting the arms into place and braking when the ship is caught. Said tower is currently 5 sections high, same as last week. However, Section 6 is on site and could be stacked at any time. Section 7 is almost finished being built up the road, and the final 8th segment, while shorter than the others, has begun construction as well. Shout out to any Starbase workers currently watching this video during their limited time off. These quiet patriots work their asses off in the blazing sun without notoriety, despite, all the cameras pointed in their direction. They truly are true role models for the next generation, representing real American grit. These workers were also filmed by John Randolph working on SN16, maybe to prepare her for a future hypersonic flight, or maybe to prepare her to go nowhere. And Labs cams captured Super Heavy Test Tank BN 2.1 getting hooked up to a crane for transport back to the construction site. Her tests have concluded. Last night, Elon tweeted a big change of events. Booster 2, while close to completion, is no longer the booster that will fly SN20 to orbit. Instead, it will head to Test Stand A for stress testing. Booster 3 will be the one to go to orbit. Team has been crushing it many days and nights in a row. Gwen Shotwell had a video conference today with the National Space Society where she said they still have hopes for a July launch to orbit.
We're shooting for July. I am hoping we make it, but we all know that this is difficult. But we are really on the cusp of flying that system, at least attempting the first orbital flight of that system, really in the very near term.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident this was said just to keep both SpaceX fans and SpaceX employees motivated. Sorry, but yeah, July's not going to happen. The booster hasn't begun stacking, and the various government agencies still haven't approved. But that's fine. The longer it takes, the longer we have to look forward to it. Starship Gazer also saw Starlink Earth stations arriving at Starbase, Texas. That is a lot of stars for one sentence. These will be used to relay satellite communications with user terminals in the area. SpaceX President Gwen Shotwell said during a Macquarie Group technology conference this week that they expect global coverage around September. Quote, "We've successfully deployed 1,800 or so satellites, and once all those satellites reach their operational orbit, we will have continuous global coverage. So that should be like September timeframe. But then we have regulatory work to do to go into every country and get approved to provide telecom services." End quote. She also said their plans to deploy 12,000 satellites will cost about $10 billion, and they currently offer beta services in 11 countries. Elon tweeted this week that he still has plans to take Starlink public, but will be waiting to do so until revenue generated is reasonably predictable, so at least a few years from now. West Coast Starlink polar launches out of Vandenberg Space Force Station could begin as early as next month. The Of Course I Still Love You drone ship has made its way through the Panama Canal on the back of the Mighty Servant as it journeys to the West Coast to support these missions. But now we've been made aware that East Coast Starlink polar launches from Cape Canaveral are coming as early as July 26 as well. SpaceX has filed communication plans with the FCC for 6 East Coast missions. The company has previously launched 10 Starlink sats to polar orbit earlier this year during the Transporter-1 rideshare mission. SpaceX has shared images taken from last week's GPS-3 mission of the Falcon 9 booster coming in hot for a landing on the drone ship. Just read the instructions. It successfully arrived at the Cape this week, and Lab Padre's new Cape Cam, of course it's Lab Padre, was there to capture its arrival. Lewis took a trip to Florida this weekend to install it. Thanks, Lab. Make sure you stop by his channel to check it out and show him some love for his efforts. Our good buddy, Greg Scott, was also at the Cape to witness the arrival of Haas, returning the fairings of GPS-3. And thanks to all that spacious real estate on board, they appeared to have no signs of claustrophobia. The astronauts of the next Crew Dragon mission, Inspiration 4, have been training in their slightly used spacesuits and undergarments borrowed from the Crew 1 team until they receive their custom ones. And Axiom 1 astronauts are also training in the simulators for the first ever private crew mission to the space station. Both missions are expected to launch later this year. But the next mission is SpaceX's second dedicated rideshare mission, Transporter 2, delayed from Thursday to Friday this week, and now to Tuesday, June 29th. The mission will launch 88 spacecraft to orbit. And now it's time for today's honorable mention. I've covered Kerbal Space Program 2 in the past, but I've been wanting to feature this upcoming video game for a while now. There's just been too many competing topics to discuss lately. But now is a good time to tell you about Icarus, an open-world survival game that pits players against a hostile alien environment that, on its surface, looks similar to Earth. You play as a prospector who has taken a spaceship to a station orbiting around a planet called Icarus to mine rare minerals called exotics. But this planet has experienced terraforming gone wrong thanks to these valuable minerals leaking toxins into the atmosphere, which is hazardous to foreign life. So while parts of the planet may look similar to Earth, the unterraformed regions definitely do not. And so you have to depend on your skills, the shelters you build, the tools you acquire, and of course a fully customizable spacesuit to survive what the environment throws at you. If you can manage to reach the exotics, mine them, and return them back to your drop pod before your mission clock expires, you can sell them at the space station for better equipment to use on your next drop. But if you miss your return time, it's game over. As a lover of space and survival games, Icarus is right in my wheelhouse. I've chatted with the New Zealand developers, RocketWorks, a few times, and they're really awesome people. I've never seen a team so willing to work with their fans and so transparent about what they're building, of course SpaceX being the exception. Icarus releases August 11th on Steam. You can pre-order now, so as you wait to board a real Starship to Mars later this decade, you can get some practice in and go on a virtual adventure to a virtual planet this year.
I'm going on an adventure!
Well, that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks for tuning in. Shout out to my eccentric members and patrons supporting the channel. If you're interested, you can do the same by using the links in the description below. Have a phenomenal weekend, and until next time, Godspeed. I just tried to record this outside, but it rained on me. So here we are in my basement. But yesterday, the lawyer wife and I rescued a new dog. So I've been spending most of my time getting him acclimated to his new home. So I thought this would be a great opportunity for me just to ask a simple question. And that is, what is it about space exploration that gets you guys so amped up? You personally, why are you so passionate about it? What lights your fire? Why are you so motivated to get out there among the stars? And for Elon Musk, he has publicly stated multiple times that he has two big reasons behind his motivation to build these starships with his engineers out there in Texas. And the first one is he finds life more interesting, more exciting, knowing that humanity is out there among the stars, or at least that we're trying to get there. The excitement of adventure, I guess, would be the bottom line. And his second reason for motivation, a little bit darker than the first reason, is that he doesn't think it's wise for humanity to put all of its eggs in one basket, so to speak. In case a natural disaster or an asteroid hits the Earth and we're all wiped out, if we have people living on different planets, humanity can continue to exist instead of becoming extinct like the dinosaurs. For me personally, I also have two different reasons. The first one being that I find engineering to be magical. And Elon has said in the past that engineering is magic, and I totally agree with that, especially with rocket science, rocket engineering, because it puts on a great show with all those explosions, just like a magic show. It's just that trial and error system that I find so inspiring. You can actually watch these people build things, and you can do it yourself with whatever project you have going on. And if you fail, you can either quit or you can go back and you can try to make it better and see how far you get the next time. And I guess with rocket science being that it's just a continuous controlled explosion, just makes it all that more exciting. And of course, space being that goal you're trying to reach, it's the heavens, right? It's very glorious. And that leads me to my second reason for my motivation for space exploration, and that is I, as a Christian, believe, because of the Bible, Psalm 19, that the more we learn about our universe, the closer we get to God. Reading his signature out there among the stars, learning more about his truths, learning more about him, and therefore, since we're made in the image of God, learning more about ourselves. But again, back to my original question, what is it about this grand adventure that gets you so motivated? What is your purpose for being here? I look forward to your answers. And until next week, God bless and Godspeed.